know he's playing lands. We're at a Legacy tournament. For John Rosum, been a newcomer here to the tour this season. I would have expected him to be on 4-color control. It seems to be this type of deck he likes.
Yes, absolutely.
He is a big proponent of kind of the good stuff decks.
Yeah, plays very well with Jeskai in Modern recently. Saw him as a finalist with Blue-White Monument in the Standard. Very into the blue mid-rangey decks.
An attack for 3 here will put Keith. We'll get the left depth down to 6, but Jonathan's got work to do. He is down a game here.
Not surprising. The lands deck can really just bully the blue control decks in game 1. Post sideboard, access to some surgical extractions can be a big difference maker.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about the 4-color control deck is that this is one deck that improves just about every matchup after sideboarding.
Yeah.
You see Kolaghan's Command getting back Baleful Strix here and recasting. Just able to go so far on card advantage.
Yeah. Strix applies some pressure. One of the big reasons you see it in this matchup is when you need to find your Edict effect to deal with Merit Lage, the Strix will chump block for a turn against the 20/20.
Sure. We see a Thespian Stage in play for Jody Keith. No Dark Depths to go with it. He's got Crop Rotation in hand, though. And he'll just play out of Dark Depths anyway.
Threatens the combo, but Rosum has access to Strix, and if he's able to maintain this Chase the Mind Sculptor, he has Merit Lage covered, theoretically.
Yeah, so he blocks it with Strix one turn, and then he unsummons it with Jace on the following turn.
Yep.
That checks out. Now, Jody has Punishing Fire in hand and Girl with the Burnwells in play, so he's going to use those to start to burn down the flying blockers to maybe take that out away. Burns one down, says go. So we could see an end step 20/20. Jody untaps, gets back Punishing Fire, removes the other blocker, goes for the win.
Yeah. Rosum would like to find a way to get lethal damage in this turn.
Yeah, so he attacks here for 3, swinging in the flying blocker. There are 2 copies of Lightning Bolt in Jonathan's deck, so this could, in theory, be a lethal swing. And Jody looks like he's going to respect that. He uses Girl with the Burnwells to get back a Punishing Fire. Use it for something. We'll check. Could be Crop Rotation, I suppose. He'll go ahead and just use it to make Merit Lage. So 20/20 blocker. Now this...
And Rosum at the ready.
Diabolic Edicted and Kolaghan's Commanded. So that's going to be lethal. Easy enough here. They're going to go to game number 3. Kind of converting. LA has kept converting those Kolaghan's Commands to burn spells.
Yep. Diabolic Edict, very narrow in the matchup. It's only for Merit Lage, but it's so important because you do need to deal with that 20/20.
Yeah, and you see Jonathan Rosum just converting value plays there. So when we look at the sideboard then for the 4-color control, you mentioned how in the first game, lands really has a run of it, but a lot of things like Surgical Extraction that he can do to fight.
Yeah, 2 Surgical Extractions, there's that Diabolic Edict. Those are really the big ones.
I like this one of Invasive Surgery in John Rossum's sideboard as well. There's a couple, Life from the Loam, a key card that I'd love to see.
Sometimes
that
you
hit.
counter Gamble in the right context.
Sure. Now on Jonathan's side for a 3rd game, do cards like Hymn to Turok, he's got 2 main, 2 board, do they play against lands?
I wouldn't say so. It's very much a graveyard deck, right?
Yeah.
Your Life from the Loaming, your Punishing Fire, Grow Over the Burn Willows. You have to get really lucky for Hymn to Turok to matter. And Jonathan Rosum, he's a very calculated player. I wouldn't expect him to go that route.
Yeah, it'd be a high variance sort of play. Now, looking at Jody's side, he's got 2 Tireless Trackers in his sideboard. As far as value cards, that's actually it. He's gone on a lot of anti-combo cards. Force Sphere of Resistance, a Trinisphere. Got 2 Drop of Honey in the sideboard.
You really have to go heavy anti-combo with lands just because the combo decks are your worst matchups by a wide margin.
Players going to get right quickly here. You see 18 minutes for a third game seems like a lot, but these games can drag out.
Yep. We have 4-color control, actually one of the slower decks in the format, and lands among the slowest. It got a lot faster with the printing of Thespian Stage, being able to Dark Depths that. That was a big upgrade. But for the most part, the decks that kill slower than lands just barely exist or don't exist anymore. We did cover Brandon playing one, but they are few and far between. Jody's going to choose to pile shuffle anyway. He's got nowhere to be.
He can play. He can turn up the speed on this deck if he needs to. Jody also having a Caracas in the sideboard of his lands deck today. One thing, looking at some of the deck lists from last round, just had to walk around the room. I'm starting to see Caracas being played in more and more decks that don't use white mana. Seen multiple Elves players with them in their sideboards.
There's a lot of Merit Lages in the format right now. It's a really accessible catch-all for that for a lot of these decks. Certainly when they're playing crop rotation, very easy to find Caracas.
Ross Miriam on Storm this weekend. He's playing a Caracas in his sideboard. It's like Keith keeping, Rosum will take them all again. And his 6 will play just fine. So first check, just how good is Jody's opener? Mox Diamond will start. Jonathan's not going to fight. Mazavith discarded. Gamble from Jody.
Likely that this is for Life from the Loam.
With this fast mana start on turn 1 with the Mox Diamond, I would agree. Doesn't take too much for him to just, I mean, especially if he had a second diamond, just to get lands into the graveyard and loam them back very quickly.
And I believe there is a second diamond in that hand there.
That's a really nice start.
So because Gamble can search for any card, you don't have to reveal it. I kind of wish you did. So
then your opponent played the minigame with you?
Your opponent knows.
Are you casting Red Entomb, or did you get to tutor for something? Number 5, card 5 is Tranquil Thicket. So now does Jody have a land for the diamond and a land that taps for mana? Oh, he does. This is a really good turn 1.
Yes.
Force of Will on the second Mox Diamond from Rosum. I like, that's a heads-up play from Jonathan.
He really does not want that Life from the Loam going off here.
Yeah, turn 1 second diamond, and then immediately loam 3 lands back go. That feels almost unbeatable.
It's a very powerful start.
Ponder from Rosum. He'll draw. Looking to find something like a Surgical Extraction this early. We'd like to hit the loam. The issue is that when Jody has the mana up, there's a Tranquil Thicket in Jody's graveyard, so you can't even Surgical the loam here.
Yeah. If you have the loam in your graveyard and the thicket in your hand, just cycle in response, dredge out the loam. No longer a valid target for graveyard targeting effects.
Yeah.
Fizzles on resolution.
This is really going to be a tough spot for Jonathan. So no Deathrite Shaman in play. Surgical Extraction doesn't interact. I'm looking at what else he can do to slow him down.
Frequently, you'll just try to counter the Life from the Loam multiple times.
Okay.
You need a lot of pressure to make that plan effective.
Yeah, the first loam does resolve. Jody gets back 3 lands. One of them is that Tranquil Thicket. So they'll say go. Back over to Jonathan. And he does have Deathrite Shaman now. Make that and a fetch line. There's no Punishing Fire in Jody's hand. Or wait, he picked it up last turn. I'll correct myself. There definitely is a Punishing Fire. Dredges into Tabernacle and Thespian Stage.
This is where you see things slowly snowball out of control.
Ooh. Not many breaks for Jonathan. He really would like to not see a Punishing Fire here. Punishing Fire is going to happen. Not actually correct that. Jody's just going to loan back the 2 lands.
He's giving it a think.
Yeah. Yep. So he'll get the 2 lands back. Loam's on the stack. That's going to play. See if he goes for that Tabernacle or the Stage. Looks like he held his land drop. So looks like he wanted to play one of those. And it's going to be the Tabernacle to continue to put pressure on Jonathan's mana.
Weird thing about Tabernacle, it's your responsibility to remember the trigger as the player controlling the creature.
Okay.
So Rosum will have to remember and pay. If you draw your card, it's considered as not paying for your creature. Don't bother reading the text box. This card, you want to check the Oracle text. But the creatures gain that upkeep cost of 1.
Yeah, it plays out a bit different than this reads. The end story is you pay 1 mana for each of your creatures or they're gone.
Yep.
With some strange interactions when certain things happen.
Yep. It's also a destroy effect, which is notable for this deck because you never have to pay for your Merit Lage because it's indestructible.
Right.
It's just good deck building.
Yeah, most upkeep costs in the game, when you don't pay them, it's a destroy. It's definitely not a sacrifice.
Design's come a long way since the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale.
So right now, with only the 1 cycle land, if Jonathan finds a Surgical Extraction, he actually could get the loam here. He'll Brainstorm. Has not made a land drop yet, so still... Yeah, looking for that for Surgical. Another Deathrite Shaman could try to fight over the loam, but the more creatures you commit into this Tabernacle, the worse things become.
Yep. Yeah, multiple Shamans is interesting. It looks good on the surface, but paying 1 for both, it just makes the card so much worse. And this is one spot where these 4-color control decks really hurt a lot. Rosum not showing up to battle with Wasteland. That's one of your most important cards against lands.
So completes the Brainstorm by cracking Scalding Tarn. Finding Bayou, though. He does have a Ponder in his hand. Looks like he's not going that direction just yet. And it says go. And passes back to Jody Keith. And we're still in Jody's upkeep right now. He's going to Dredge Loam. That'll put 3 lands, Windswept Heath, Taiga, Dark Depths into his graveyard. A pretty nice one.
And Dark Depths to pair with that Thespian Stage.
And he'll just keep going to work. Life from the Loam, getting all 3 back. Jonathan will use Deathrite Shaman to exile away the Dark Depths. So Jody only gets 2 lands. And I like this Deathrite Shaman management here from Rosum.
Yeah, keeping it alive, using it to go for lands.
Yeah, you know, even with the black mana up and trying to take down the pressure on exiling Loam right now. knows about the Tranquil Thicket, so he'll let that happen.
And Jody's been taking his time with regard to using this punishing fire. I think ideally he'd like to wait until he has a Grove of the Burn Willows, just so he can recur it if it's targeted by Surgical.
Yeah. But now he's made it up to 5 lands. He said now is the time. He'll just shoot down the Deathrite Shaman and pass.
Pretty big cost given that the Shaman got to exile that Dark Depths on that turn.
But there's still no pressure on Jonathan's side, so things still fine for Jody right now. You see Jonathan cracking another fetch land.
Yep.
Maybe a Jace, you can stick that. That would certainly be nice. And we do see the Mind Sculptor. Immediately up to 5, it will scry for Jonathan and put a card to the bottom. Jonathan keeps going to work. Here's a Dredge of Life from them. Finds Ghost Quarter, flips another Punishing Fire into his graveyard, but no Grove of the Burn Willows just yet.
Player cycles a card.
All right.
Ryan checks his bingo box.
Okay.
Threatening multiple bingos right now.
All right. What wins for you then?
I win on Liliana the Veil Ultimate, True Nemesis dying, or a red blast or a blue blast, countering the other type of blast.
So I got some time.
Yeah.
True Nemesis never dies. Liliana, all right.
Yeah, my countering blasts thing, I think, is it's a pipe dream.
I like it. I like the flavor of that.
Yeah.
Dark Depths, though, was put into play by Jody Keith. When he cycled, that's what he found.
It's a nice pickup.
Yeah, without Wasteland, then I have to look for John Rosum. First of all, he's going to shuffle with Ponder, so now I get to check it off legitimately. But if he doesn't have a Wasteland to interact with the combo, I guess he has those Diabolic Edicts.
Yep.
After the shuffle, Jonathan's going to brainstorm. Jody has responses.
I think he was thinking about comboing in response. I don't really think that makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, you want to do it now because the Jace activation's down?
It's not really different
matter.
to respond to Jace versus responding to Ponder.
Sure.
I think more than anything, Jody was just telling Jonathan to slow down.
Land and a go. Jody makes the 20-20, losing 2 lands. Jonathan, it does have the Edict at the ready, it looks like.
I also honestly checked my 2 non-mana producing lands box there. So, deal with that.
Okay, Dark Depths and Tabernacle.
Jody correctly does not pay for Merit
You already
Lage.
lost your honor on that one. You can't. Diabolic Edict takes down the 20-20. Jody will have to summon Merit Lage again.
Shouldn't be terribly difficult with active Life from the Loam.
No, he just has another Dark Depths in his hand right now.
Easy. Yeah, already at second stage. Rosum does play 4 Snapcaster Mage, so he does have reasonably high access to Diabolic Edict.
Land and go. Yeah, Snapcaster Mage in Jonathan's hand. And he'll scry again with the Jace. You know, this game felt one-sided, but I don't know that that's true anymore. What really has felt like the choke point for Jody is that he doesn't have an exploration effect. And so every time he tries with his combo, he's -2 lands. Yeah. And that's adding up.
And I think that the biggest thing is that he has not yet found Grove of the Burn Willows. If he was just punishing firing multiple times every turn, he takes care of the Jace. Easy, forget about that.
Yeah, he can't answer the Planeswalker. I have Jace the Mind Sculptor Ultimates on this board? Okay, I'm going for that one.
I mean, that would be Rosum's out to this game.
I didn't think I'd get that one.
You see it often enough.
Lock in this player shuffles with Ponder.
Instep there for Jody. Used his stage to copy his Thicket, so now it's a red-green dual land. That also still Thespian stages. Can't forget that.
So if he suspects Snapcaster Diabolic Edict, how does he play around that?
Just keep looking for Grove of the Burn Willows, I imagine.
Okay. Yes, he can use the Tranquil Thicket with Grove of the Burn Willows to start dredging multiple times in a turn if he needs to dig farther. Life in the Loam getting back 3 more lands. Thespian Stage, Dark Depths, and looks like
Tranquil Thicket.
Tranquil Thicket is the 3rd target. And Jonathan gonna hard cast Force of Will. That's another one.
Ooh, don't call it a comeback.
I'm not. None of these are in a row. Just under 3 minutes remaining here as we go back over to Jonathan Rosum. He is trying to control the lands player as the Jace builds up toward 12. He is, and how he's played this Jace has been really interesting. He has scryed every turn with it from the moment he cast it. There was no brainstorming. The ultimate was where he wanted to go with this card.
Yeah, his line is just trying to ultimate Jace, hoping to do it before that Grove of the Burn Willows shows up. Here's a Brainstorm to follow up that scry to the bottom for Rosum.
Says go. You see Baleful Strix in hand. He is leaving up that Snapcaster Diabolic Edict, though. Crop Rotation gets rid of Tabernacle for Jody. You're thinking it's going to be for Grove of the Burn Willows here?
I would like getting Grove. Start getting back. He has 2 Punishing Fires in the graveyard.
What about getting Wasteland and start going at Jonathan's mana? That's all right.
You got to deal with this Jace.
You're right. Grove of the Burn Willows will be the find off Crop Rotation. And you see on this side, Jody's got to know about the Snapcaster Mage. I mean, Jonathan didn't try to fight over the Crop Rotation. Jody uses end step to get back both Punishing Fires. Remember that Thespian Stage is a red-green duel. He will dredge Loam, 2 more Grove of the Burn Willows put into the graveyard. And we still have a fight here. And now eyes for me are on that clock. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Jody picking 3 lands out.
This is looking a lot like a draw. Both of these game plans are so anemic.
It's a really interesting game. But I don't know that they're going to get the time to finish it. We'll see. Grove and a pass for Jody. John Rosum. Yeah, the problem is with these multiple Groves and multiple Punishing Fires is the plan to ultimate Jace. Not sure that's going to stick here.
No. Those Groves will start going to work on that, and you see Rosum brainstorming largely for that reason.
John's got to give himself an Ivory Mask, and then he'll get it.
I suppose there is an artifact that has that effect that theoretically...
Witchbane Orb?
Yeah, he wouldn't play it. He's not playing it.
Fetches up for land 6. Two mana Baleful Strix for Rosum. And this just doesn't do much with the Punishing Fire Groves online. It draws him a card.
And Rosum picked up Surgical Extraction, but he's just not going to be able to convert that if Jody plays this smart. Leaves Groves of the Burn Willows up so he can always return the Punishing Fires in response.
Cycles Tranquil Thicket. Yeah, and you see Jody, he's not going to either. You saw an end step there. He could have used the second Punishing Fire, and then Jonathan would have had an opportunity, but not as is. Turn 1 is going to be Jody's. He has turns 1, 3, and 5. John Rosum turns 2 and 4. If there's no winner by the end of turn 5, the match will be a draw. And both of us are thinking that that's where we're headed.
And you just do the math. Jace actually can't ultimate with Rosum only having two more turns. So Jody probably going to try to combo with Merit Lage. That would be the way that he could potentially honestly win.
It feels pretty free here, right? If Jonathan can't realistically win in 2 turns, so if Jonathan has no route to win, then Jody's going to play this as aggressively as possible.
Yep.
Dredging Loam. That Caracas there. Into the yard for Jody. But yeah, the question will be if he can force a 2020 through. There is that Snapcaster Diabolic Edict.
It's going to be tough.
And Ghost Quarter from Jody. He's going to Ghost. Looks like he's going to try to attack Jonathan's mana. He loams again. Gets back to Tranquil Thicket.
Along with Thespian Stage and Dark Depths.
Yeah, can re-go from the combo. He will cycle Tranquil Thicket. Looks like he found Drop of Honey.
Yeah, this isn't going to be the game for that.
And discards to hand size. John Rosum is turn 2. There is nothing in Jody's graveyard. He doesn't have a way just to exile maybe that Diabolic Edict out of the graveyard. Nothing like that. I don't think so.
No, Land's Deck just doesn't do things like that. You can Bajuka Bog them potentially. He does have one of those in the main deck.
Okay. Well, that actually plays if it's still in. I mean, Jonathan probably has another way to deal with it, but not necessarily.
Right.
And Jody's going to make a 2020 on end step here, sure. Surgical Extraction from Jonathan. Yeah, and this is a thing where Jody was going to go as aggressive as possible. It meant that he couldn't protect himself from Surgical anymore, and that means it's going to be a draw between the two players.
Yep.
And you see, when Jonathan shows the Surgical, Jody says, yeah, all right, you got the draw. So 2-0 and 1 for both players in the top